Boom, and welcome to another video of the Flowing Dutchman. Now in this video we're going to talk about the number one mistake that I think is usually done when swinging the mace. Alright, let's be blunt about it. There are many mistakes that occur when swinging a mace, and only this mistake will not solve all of your issues when swinging a mace. For that, you do need to buy one of my courses. Just a joke. The thing is, this is what I usually see and what will solve most of the problems instantly once they really start to get into this, because it's just with anything in life, once you go really deep into it, you start to understand that it's actually quite complex and not as easy. So just saying, hey, do this and change that will not grasp the depth of the actual mistake and what's occurring. Now, the reason why this mistake comes up is because since the 50s, 1950s, we have started to learn something new about movement, which is let's single out muscles and let's create as much tension as possible for a muscle, burn it out as completely as you can, and then make sure that it restores, and then do that again. So what we're learning in most gyms, most fitness places now, is actually how to tighten up and create as much tension as possible. So, and this is also one of the reasons why it's usually easier for women to train with maces at the beginning than men, is because they're less used to going to gyms. And most men that are interested in mace, they come from a gym background. So whenever I give a mace to people that are usually very strong or muscular, they get humbled by a mace that is only 5 kilos, easily. Why? Because they treat it as a dumbbell, and a mace should not be treated as a dumbbell. The weight is actually far away from your hand. So what happens is that the moment you start to squeeze and really tighten up, you start to make that mace actually far away from the hand, which is very difficult to do. And you can imagine that holding 5 kilo out in extension of the arms is very tough and almost impossible to hold for a long time. The mace is not designed to be heavy in that way, because then you could just use 2 kilogram maces and hold it all the time outside of you. Or you could just use a dumbbell and hold it like that. It will create the same effect. I think the most important thing for a mace and for every tool is to go towards its essence. Why is it used? Where was it used for? And why was it designed? So it is just not the most ideal tool to train your biceps. You can do it and it's good. It's fun and engaging. But if you really want to train your biceps, you can better use dumbbells, right? Most of the exercises are compound exercises. That means that you incorporate all kinds of muscles when using a mace. So a basic swing involves a lot of activations and releases, right? And it's actually in the releases that this mistake occurs. So let's now talk about what happens usually when people swing a mace. What they do is they tense up. So they start to squeeze into it. Usually when I feel the mace, when somebody has a mace in their hand, I can just feel the amount of tension they are putting into holding that handle here. So whenever they start to swing, you can just see all of that tension coming through, and they're making this mace so much heavier than it actually is. I've seen it so many times. One of the principles of Dutch Flow Academy is let go, let God. And this means that you have to trust that that mace will come back. You have to let it go, right? In the 360, there are 3 parts. There's a press, there's a drop, and there's a pull. If you're not dropping, you're only pressing and pulling. And that makes it a very strenuous exercise and will not give you that effortless flow that a mace can actually give you. Now, it will still train your arms. don't feel like the mace is not for you, because the moment you start to feel that you can actually let go and it starts to become easier, like, hey, but wait a second, I'm doing this to train this, I'm doing that to do this. Eventually, you can, of course, go up in weight, right? Just like with a deadlift, if you can do a perfect deadlift at 20 kilos, doesn't mean you don't have to go up. That's why people push it so far, because their technique gets better. They're better able to use all the muscles at the same time while keeping it straight and while keeping your core engaged and a straight back and all these stuff. And then they realize, hey, now I can go up in weight. Same thing with the mace. Once you start to perfect your technique, once a swing becomes fluid, once a swing becomes like butter, like a warm knife through butter, that is when you can go up in weight and then add more complexity to it, right? So you can either go up in weight or add more complexity to it, just whatever you favor and what your wishes are for your training. So in that sense, understanding the entire skill of the mace is crucially in developing this. So if you want to learn more about, mistakes, about ways to do this better, I've got a lot of courses on DutchFlowAcademy.com that go through all these points. They will give you all of the imprints. There's a free 360 masterclass that is coming soon. I think it will be online as this video will be online. And it will just master the fine arts of this swing. And this swing is the most important exercise for your mace practice, right? Because it's the most unique. So that said, I'll see you there, maybe at a live event, a certification, an online course, or maybe we just meet somewhere random on the street. Happened before. Bye-bye.
In the beginning, the Maester created the maces and the flows. The Maester had set out a path towards the beginning stages of mastery over maces and flows that shall last only 6 weeks. In the first week, the Maester gave the subject feet and legs and let him find balance in between the chaos and the order of the maces and the flows. In the second week, the Maester gave the subject a torso, which created different directions for the momentum to move the warps. In the third week, the Maester gave the subject the shoulder that could move both inwards and outwards. In the fourth week, the Maester gave the subject elbows, which allowed new swings in front and in back of the body. In the fifth week, the Maester gave the subject 2 hands for the subject to hold the mace. In the sixth week, the Maester gave the eyes from which the subject could view the world, creating a front and a back corner. And in the seventh week, the Maester said it was good and took a rest. The subject is now not a rookie anymore with the maces and the flows. He has now successfully completed Mace Flow 6, Level 1.
Thank you for your attention, it's greatly appreciated. If you like the content, please consider to share, like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see similar videos, you can see them over here. If you're interested in learning more from me as a coach, I've got online courses on DutchFlowAcademy.com. Keep flowing, Ram Ram.